too strong, yeah. I'm always worried I'll stay too long. But what's on your mind tonight? I love it when we can laugh together. That kind of thing, it just makes me feel better. I'm gonna give this just one try. Or what if I told you you took my breath away? And what if I told you I wish that I could stay?
아침에 과일 갈아갖고 주스를 먹거든.
Bean salad. Betul lu